Okay, this is 2013 law, unit 1, paper 1. We started at 2011, right? So we're gonna just be moving up. So in order to make it a little bit more efficient, I'll just be skipping questions that have already been repeated, right? So which of the following statements is applicable to positive law? It must, the positive law, right, shaped by a rational foundation more, is applicable to positive law, must be obeyed even if unjust. All right, see, philosophers who argue that we looked at this already. D, right, when the classification of law prescribes that an employer is liable for, this is private law, right? Statutory interpretation which seeks to avoid unjust. If it is not mischief, it is golden rule. Right, I don't believe so. Is it the golden rule though? Is mischief and purposive the same thing? I would believe that mischief and purposive should amount to the same thing, so I think that this is a better answer. If it is actually golden and mischief that occur, that is the same thing, then gold is the answer. West Indian law and legal system is evolved from colonialism. Beautiful. Statements of law made in a case that were not fully argued per inquiry. Which of the following is not a feature of the High Court of the Supreme Court? Investigations is for magistrates courts, and the lower courts thereabout. Alright, moving on. Which of the following statements best describes the practice of law in the Commonwealth Caribbean? It has changed no, it has not. In some, I don't think it has changed drastically. Right, so some countries have influence, so we still have the influence. I don't think it has changed drastically. If you think so, please give a great explanation why. The golden rule in statutory interpretation arises from ordinary meaning of no. The court wishes to provide clarity on the statute. Alright, I think it is that. I don't know where we got these from. Wait, hold on. I didn't read the entire thing properly. Yeah, man. D is the best answer. I'm reading through everything, to make sure I'm not putting too many issues. The rules of statutory interpretation are intended to assist the court interpreting legislation. Right? The mischief rule in statutory interpretation arises when the court wishes to determine the defects of a. I was trying to correct. Yes. Right. In March, Green Thumbs Limited, owned by Mrs. Perkins, entered into an agreement with Piet Limited, owned by her former husband, Mrs. Perkins. Supply lush fertilizer. This is Beswick v Beswick actually, and this will be happening at a magistrate's court. Right, Mr. Roche, I guess, a prosecutor, is aware that her co-accused P, who is cooperating with the prosecution, has a document which is very damaging to the co-accused. Q, both accused, are involved in the extradition proceedings at the request of the foreign state. Miss Roche has a duty to the defense counsel, right? To the director of public prosecution, and the judge, and representatives of the foreign government. I'm not sure about all of them, but I know that they have a duty to the judge, right, and the director of public prosecutions. But let's settle with no. She is a prosecutor. She doesn't have a duty to the wait. Let me see. As aware of the co-accused P, who is cooperating with the prosecution. Oh, cooperating with the prosecution. Alright. Which of the following are features of delegated legislation? I would believe that it's greater autonomy to administrative units and special 2 and 3. Janet owes her cousin Justin, 6 months rent for the apartment. Right, okay, we'll look at this mediation. Which of the following is not a feature of Caribbean Constitution? Inherent supervisory function possessed by the original jurisdiction is given by the original jurisdiction. Nope. Right. Let's look at this. Number 17. Which of the following are requirements for the operation of the rule of law in any Caribbean country? So we must have that and that 1 and 3. Appointment of judges should be this is independent of judiciary, right? The prerogative rules that compels the performance is mandamus, right? Let's look at this. No, the statement, no minds above the diocese rule of law, right? So we're seeing that many of them start to repeat. The breach of law deals with the powers of the duties of the government constitutional. An independent judiciary is indispensable, right? Have a fair hearing, right? All Commonwealth Caribbean jurisdictions of the state is either a queen or a president, one or two. Alright, let's look at this. The Prime Minister of Xanadu was charged with tax evasion, found guilty of a sentence 6 months prison. This was possible because of the rule of law. Buster, we spoke about this as well. Brenda, right? Staging, we said Brenda was breaching with what? Freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, right to liberty, right? I do believe that liberty speaks to, let me see. Some policemen approach her, taking away the pickets, and tell them that they ought not to say anything about them. Policemen also told them to disperse, and all of them, right? So let's look at this. Is this Mr. Acorn again? Right, I think this would have been improper verbose, abuse of discretion, breach of fundamental rights. I think this one would be bias. Which of the following remedies would be why habeas corpus? I want somebody to tell me why. Members of the community are upset with the government, right? That introduces a payment for travel on the main road which leads directly to the airport. Mayor and her sister son should tell them that they cannot sue as there seeks to they can't sue. Wait, hold on. Members of the community mayor seeks your advice on cannot sue as they don't have local standard, right? The court does not and cannot inquire the merits of a decision. The court can only examine the legality of a doctrine of judicial review. The but-for principles for causation, which of the for the following, for which of the offense below does recklessness suffice as mens rea, involuntary manslaughter? Which of the following malice of a thought taken into consideration? Murder, right? 34. In criminal law, there is a strong legal authority for the proposition that the onus is on the prosecution, the crown. Strict liability offenses, which of the following is not correct? Not correct. There's presumption of mens. There's no presumption of mens rea. That is not correct. There is presumption of mens rea. The defense against a charge of murder may be successfully argued on the grounds of self-defense. Which of the following may not be the result in criminal liability? Steps taken to commit the crime. A state of affairs. State of affairs alone can't do it, but strict liability can allow actus reus alone to play out. Which of the following is not a special case? Well, it's a special defense. I told you that self-defense and insanity are technically, but I'll be that easy safe answer. This would be murder, the Mary one. Alright, Sandra pulls a gun. I think this would be liable for attempted murder. Shamar Alcine's friend, guilty of rape. We're seeing these questions. Alex resolves to kill Peter. This is murder. All of them except for the last one and Oh, failed to give. Okay, so these would be all. Yeah, all of them for this one. Right, Mary stabbed John Millerberg. John was rushed to the hospital and refused to do the transfusion. Wait, remarked that she did not appreciate. This is not a general defense available to Mary. Yeah, intoxication could be it. Right, Mary stopped John when he made a remark that okay. Marie fires 2 shots at Phil, which missed him and broke a glass window. Is liable for the damage. Right, so this would have been the end of 20. I think this is 2012's paper or 2013's. 2013's Cape Unit 1, paper 1 for law.